Wanted to take a couple minutes just to come live. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram. I got a couple folks. My bad. I got a couple folks going to be joining us on Instagram Live. But I'm going to give people a couple minutes to log in. I want to tag some folks in who I know going to be joining me. I think we're good. So I normally don't do the live thing, but trying to do it a little bit more so I can bring accurate information to people. So I got a couple people who are going to be joining me today. But if you're an elected official and you're in the city and you want to kind of jump in on some of this stuff, I just want people to kind of understand, like, I got a unique lens as what's going on with some of the basketball stuff in the city because, I coach high school basketball, but outside of that, I'm on city council. And so, I'm going to have a couple elected officials come on and talk about some things, but I felt the need to go live. I seen what happened with the games last night, and, to be honest, like everybody else, because I'm in the crib, I got more time on my hands than what I would normally have. So I seen a couple of the videos that happened that kind of led up to it. Some of that stuff is funny, and I know that's, that competitive Philly basketball spirit. But other stuff, is good. It's all healthy. I talked to a lot of different people about it because I'm a Philly basketball guy myself. And so while it's all healthy, it's all good. The problem we got is that, it start with, guys talk about, like, what's street ball mean to, other forms of basketball. Then it goes into a ripple effect into the young boys, but then it spills over into young boys hooping last night. And I love basketball like everybody else. I'm struggling. My team is struggling, my seniors. But look at all that has happened in basketball, right? And you could start with high school. We've seen high school basketball suspended across the state. No state championships, no state playoff games, none of that. That's revenue lost out. That's dreams that essentially are ended. You move up a level. You see NCAA, they've canceled the season. That's a bunch of revenue. That's something we've never seen before. And then you transition to the NBA, which really is what triggered a lot of this stuff. Whereas though the NBA, we seen that cancellation happen. And so when everything hit the fan and we as a city was looking at shutdowns, because I'm on city council, I get an opportunity to be in a room and to be able to advocate for some things. So to be honest with you, I'm one of the people who advocated for all basketball courts to not be taken down right away. And the reason I advocated for them not to be taken down right away was because I recognized that there were moves that were being made to allow people to have space and opportunity to exercise while practicing social distancing, but it wasn't an opportunity for many people of color. So my logic is, well, in places where people are doing the right thing and practicing social distancing, let's allow them courts to remain up so that people can, do the one-on-one skill building stuff that they need. Unfortunately, what happened was originally it was like, all right, well, if we hear people playing, we'll take the rim down. But then it turned into, people actually looking for places to go, and then us having to take every rim down. Now, what guys got to understand is when the young guys do that, right? A couple pictures show up on social media, it's a conversation, it's one thing. But then what'll happen is, and this is why I want other elected officials to chime in so people can understand the ripple effect that this thing creates. What then happens is when it started off with one, or two or a couple young guys going live on social media, then turns into a couple still shots and images, then turns into, a list of complaints that now comes down to us. So for me personally, now I wake up this morning because I seen it last night. I said something when it happened last night. That's a whole nother conversation. But now when I wake up in the morning, now I have people tweeting me pictures of what took place last night. I have people texting me pictures of things that was happening last night. I have people tagging me on Facebook, and they are now almost demanding action, that we do something. Now, guys got together, guys played basketball last night under the conditions, extremely dangerous, extremely not a good idea because of how easy it is for somebody to catch this virus. But at the end of the day, I get it. It's healthy competition. In the dream world, I wish I was a little younger and in better shape and able to compete based on, like, you know, some of the jargon and the language that's taking place, because I would want to take part in that, because that's just what it means to be from Philly. And on the one side, it's like, look, we all want that healthy competition. We want that healthy basketball. But on the other side, we got to stay safe. And, you know, look, I know what it means to be 18 years old, 19 years old, 20, 21 years old. You know, you feel like you're invincible. That's just like naturally when you're looking at what goes on through when you study human growth and development. But so I get it. Actually, Tim Smith just logged in. He's one of the people who I've seen say that. Tim Smith is a Philly basketball guy, smart dude, hardworking dad right now. His son even got a ball game. But like, I'm thinking about 18, 19-year-old Tim Smith or Isaiah Thomas or a lot of the guys that, you know, we played with growing up. You know, I get it. But what we're trying to get guys to recognize is this is nothing that we've ever seen in our lifetime. We haven't seen anything like this in 100 years. Right now in the city of Philadelphia, we have about a little more than 4,000 people who tested positive for the coronavirus. We've tested about 20,000 people, right? So we tested a little less than 20,000. We have a little more than 4,000 who's been confirmed positive, which basically means that anywhere from 20 to 25% of the people who've been tested has tested positive. Now, I'm not saying that 20 to 25% of the population actually has the disease, especially not right now, because remember, the people who we test are the people who are most vulnerable, people who are showing symptoms, and people who've been exposed to somebody else. So the fact that you actually go get tested, it means you're more likely to test positive than somebody who just randomly decides that I'm just going to go get tested because I'm paranoid. So I'm not suggesting that 20 to 25% of the population has it. I'm saying 20 to 25% of the people who have been tested have tested positive. So at the end of the day, what we're trying to get you young guys to recognize is, like, look, just because you might be cool don't mean that you can't take it and contract it to somebody else. That's the problem. And what you end up happening is you have a lot of people who might have sickle cell disease, or might be diabetic, or might have any type of pre-existing condition, and now they're paranoid. They're worried because they understand that when you convene as many people as you did last night, and it was a lot of people together last night. That was probably, you know, I mean, as far as like a actually caption, like a picture or anything like that, that was probably one of the biggest convenience we've had in the city in about a week or so. And that's why it becomes a bigger deal than just people playing basketball, is because, you know, as orders by the city and state, we've been told not to convene and gather in that way. So, you know, that's why it's a little bigger deal than it is. And so on the other side, you know, I'm glad that it wasn't worse than what it was. But let's just, like, hypothetical scenario. Now, let's say that, you know, when you do, because this incident took place, right, we have now not just put more pressure on us as elected officials, you're now putting more pressure on the police too. Because folks are now going to say, well, who's supposed to do something about that? Police is supposed to do something about that. So now what we're asking for is we're asking for police to go into our neighborhoods to check us because we're not checking ourselves. As a member of city council, I've been working with law enforcement. I'm on the public safety committee. I've done more with law enforcement in the last 3 months than I've done in the first 35 years of my life. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to be on the side of us asking police to do what we can do ourselves. Like, this is something that we can do ourselves. We have to be much more disciplined. We have to talk to our youngins, right? It was a lot of young folks out there between the ages of about 17 and 24, 25. We got to talk to them. We got to grab them. We got to let them know, like, before it even gets to the point where we're asking 8, 10, 12, what you want, 15, 20 police cars to come out there? What's the likelihood of us calling police, having police coming out there and disperse what's going on, and everything ends up peaceful? You know, thank you, officer. We appreciate you coming out here and communicating what's going on. You know, we've already had a number of different reports and incidents that have come to us on council about complaints that people have had as it relates to dialogue between them and police, right? So maybe it's the community fault, maybe it's the police fault. Look, we need people to police themselves. This is not a time to point blame and say who's at fault or who's wrong. We're in the middle of a pandemic, something we've never seen in over 100 years. So this isn't the time to point fingers and say, you did this wrong or you did that wrong. This is the time for people to step up and try to put ourselves in a position where we're working together. They say, I see somebody saying it's selfishness. I get that sentiment of saying it's selfish. Like, I really do. I understand it. But I also understand what it means to be an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old basketball player in the city of Philadelphia who's very competitive, who wants an opportunity to show folks what they can do. Like, I get it. I get it. So maybe it is the character, maybe the adjective you want to use to describe it is selfish, but I see it more of feeling invincible. Like, oh yeah, I get it. It's out there, but it can't impact me. It can't hurt me. More of a I'm living in the moment type thing. So I don't want the young guys to think that I'm trying to come for them, because I'm not. This isn't me trying to come for y'all. This is me basically making like a desperate plea. A lot of my young guys on Instagram who follow me, they know I don't do the live thing, so I'm trying to come to them where they are. I know the other coaches, I've seen it, other guys who run leagues, who run different basketball things, guys who even run basketball pages. I've seen folks put the emphasis on this stuff, but now I'm doing my part to step up and try to have some level of communication. But also, I want y'all to understand how this impacts, because again, people didn't ask us that force police to have a stronger impact in neighborhoods, which is not something we want. We want to try to police ourselves, but then it also puts us in a position where average everyday citizens are telling us we're not doing nothing about it. And we got to make sure that we're keeping people safe and out of harm's way. And the way folks convene like that last night, it can't happen. But I want to talk about solutions, says this information. I don't think that, I mean, look, the elders have something to do with it, but let's be honest. When you was 18, 19, 20 years old, how much control did your mom and dad have over your time? A lot of these young guys, they're home from college. They got cut, the season ended abruptly. And, they've been, they're salivating at the mouth to get on the court. One of the things I've been promoting is the importance of individual workouts and skill building. Big shout out to Tashi Carr. I seen him have a video last week. I mentioned it in my last live, but I'm going to repost it again just so people can see that there are folks who are out there. You can leave it right there, my man. You good. You can leave it right there. There are folks, have a good one. There are folks that's out there who are trying to encourage people to stay fit, stay sharp in your skill, but do it in a way that's responsible, because this thing is real. Look, we got to understand not just what's going on in New York, but as a city, we are planning to get overwhelmed. Like, we're planning for worst case scenarios, whereas though it's like, okay, well, what happens if we don't have enough, if we don't have the capacity for all the people that die to be buried? Like, think about that. Like, we're thinking about the fact that so many people may die from this, possibly. Again, this is not what we're wishing or anything like that, but as a city, we have to plan. So we're saying that so many people may possibly die from this that we may get overwhelmed as far as our funeral homes and our burial sites. That's one of the things that New York is going through right now, is that they become overwhelmed. Italy, same thing. I understand you, but... So, I mean, I get it. Look, okay. So the statement talked about respect for authority. And come on, let's just be honest. I've been 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and I wasn't the most reckless young guy growing up. But at the same time, it's something that's like in a natural inclination. And, I guess maybe you could equate it to the Philly culture as well, too. When you young and you growing up in this city, like, it's not always like, let's be respectful of authority. And this is what authority is saying. A lot of times, especially people of color, we feel like authority/government is against us, because government is the institutions we attended that was against us. It's the law enforcement that we got the perception that's against us and sometimes is against us. It's the individual experiences that we have that make us feel like, as young black men growing up in the city, that people ain't really for us anyway. So I don't want to make it seem like, that these young people are like the end all be all. A lot of them, we got a lot of young people in this city who feel like they wake up every day risking their life in general just by walking these streets. We got a lot of young people who wake up on a consistent basis every day, feel like, I don't have nothing to live for in general. Like, I'm going to die before I'm 30 anyway. So why do I really care about a coronavirus? So we got to understand that was a mentality that was entrenched in our community, unfortunately, and it's a lot of institutional reasons why, but these are like a realistic part of what our young people are thinking. So I'm really not on here to come at the young people at all. Like, the first thing I want them to understand is when they make a decision like this, the impact it has on us as elected officials, especially the young elected officials in the city. I'm about to add, for people on Facebook, I can't add nobody. But for people on Instagram, I'm about to add my man, Jordan Harris. What's up, big homie? How you, bro?
Man, I'm chilling. What's up, bro?
First of all, y'all South Philly boys is off the hook. Because all this started with Deion Waiters.
Don't put that on South Philly. I saw pictures from 48 Brown the other day. I saw pictures from North Philly.
I'm saying it all started with Deion Waiters because he was the one that went live the other day saying that he run the city, and then once he did that, it created a ripple effect, and next thing you know, all right, so Jordan, because I'm joking, blaming South Philly, but look, one of the things I was telling people about, just because we're young elected officials in the city of Philadelphia, just on an all serious note, like, just explain to the young boys what your phone went through this morning when you got, like, through tags, text messages, like, how much do people blow you up when something like that happened, and what do people expect you to do?
So first, let me thank you for doing this. Look, the truth is, whenever something happens, whether it's this, whether it's particularly around schools and stuff like that, I get tagged in everything on Instagram, Facebook, people screenshotting and sending me text messages. So, like, you know, I wake up in the morning. I woke up this morning at like 6:30, and my phone was off the hook with all these different text messages from folks. And you know, as a young black man who grew up in the city, who still lives in the neighborhood that I grew up in, but now as an elected official, you know, folks feel like they can reach out to us because we're one of the folks that they trust that work inside the structure. So, you know, I was dismayed when I saw all of the videos and pictures of folks balling. I mean, and I get it. I understand, folks. It's nice days. Folks want to be outside, but
can y'all hear Jordan on Facebook? Somebody comment and let me know. But go ahead, keep going, Jordan. Keep going, Jordan. My bad.
So, like, the thing for me is, though, Zay, like, I was in Harrisburg for the last 2 days. I just got back today. And, you know, like, every day I get updates on what's going on. I can tell you that today we had over 1,600 new cases of coronavirus in Pennsylvania, and we had 70 more deaths. So yesterday, 78 people died. Today, an additional 70 people died. So, you know, when you look at, you know, what we're going through in the city and in the state, like, you know, I posted something on Twitter the other day, like, you might not get sick, but when you go home to grandma,
I retweeted that.
You going to transmit that to grandma can die.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think we have to understand the seriousness of the coronavirus, even though for some of our younger folks, it may not physically affect them. You know, grandma and pop, and, you know, if you got a cousin that got, you know, a deficit in their immune system, like, they are, you know, susceptible to this. And what I can tell you is that going through my Facebook timeline, I just see friends of mine, like, you know, rest in peace to my grandma, you know, rest in peace to my cousin. I'm just like, yo, this is crazy.
For those of y'all on Facebook, I got State Rep Jordan Harris on Instagram Live, so I'm kind of trying to merge it together. Jordan, on Facebook, I tried to tag some of the basketball pages in the city, just so that guys, like, you know, who on Facebook, so they understand, like, first, because I explained to them, first of all, at the beginning, we weren't taking down all rims because we want to give people opportunity to, you know, participate in athletics while socially distancing. Now we got to take down all rims, and now it's even more pressure on us. Like, because it's not just that particular incident, it just shows that, and I'm not coming at young guys because I know what it means to be their age. You just got this feeling of, you know, I'm invincible. It's not really going to hurt me. I'm just going to keep living my everyday life. And that was the point of me just trying to come out right now and have this conversation. Even we don't even go live a lot, especially as elected officials. We don't have a lot of time to really dive into stuff, especially in the moment. We always going from one thing to another, and I can imagine what it is for you in the Harrisburg. But my concern is this, is that there's just a bigger issue that young people, they don't think that it's an issue to convene. Right, because that was basketball, but we also know it's like, you know, house parties, the Airbnb joints, this, that, and the third. And I know people keep saying parents and all that, but Like these young, they 19, they 20, they 21. Like your mom wasn't telling you.
Yo, so Zay, check this out. 42% of all of the corona cases in Pennsylvania are between the ages of 25 and 49,
yep,
right?
Yep.
42%. But the deaths and the hospitalizations, the supermajority are people over 65.
Yep.
So those people over 65 is getting it from somewhere,
yep,
and that somewhere are the people between the ages of 25 and 49.
Yep.
So you know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody trying to come at nobody. I was, I'm 35, so I wasn't. It's not that long ago that I wasn't out there, wanting to be on the court and hang out with the homies and all that stuff. I get it.
Yep.
But like, yo, we gotta chill. Like,
we never seen nothing like this before.
Chill.
We never seen nothing like this before. We just got to fall back for a couple weeks, and for some reason, everybody ain't getting the answer. All right, look, Jordan, because, one thing we got in common is this school of thought, whereas though we're going to highlight a problem, we're going to talk about solutions too. So, what I'm saying is this: if we can get these young guys to just chill, right? It started with Dion Waiters. It's been a ripple effect, but it's been all good and healthy. It's been good basketball talk. What I'm saying is me, you, other elected officials in the city, we should commit to working with a lot of the guys who already do the basketball stuff and make sure that they have the access to resources and facilities that they need. So when this whole thing, hit the fan, like I know I seen Raheem Thompson, Mike Morag, guys who run different stuff, Chuck Ellis, guys who run different stuff across the city saying that when this thing is done, they're going to make sure that they have platforms set up. I'm just saying, like, for us on our side, I just want to give folks a verbal commitment that we'll pledge to be with them to help them through that stuff, as long as we can make sure that we actually get to the point where we can participate in some level of athletics, because the way we moving right now, we're going to be shut down for some time.
So look, you have my commitment. Like, when whatever's necessary, whatever I can do to be helpful, I'm definitely in on that, or making sure that our young folks have the recreational stuff. And I mean, there's resources in Harrisburg. You came up to Harrisburg.
Yep.
And talk to some of our folks. So, there are resources available that we can help people with. So, I'm all in on that and keeping people safe. But I just need folks to chill out, you know what I mean, and relax right now, because we gotta flatten this curve. And right now we're not doing that. Like, the numbers keep going up, and not just the numbers of infected, like the
deaths.
The deaths are going up. And here's the thing, there was something in the New York Times, I think it was yesterday, talked about African Americans, and how there's a high rate of African Americans dying from coronavirus, and a lot of that is because of underlying health conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, all of that other kind of stuff that is contributing to African Americans dying from corona. So we gotta do all that we can. So I see somebody want to talk about 5G, and
I'm not doing
that.
Go ahead, you can do that.
But no, hold up, because here's why. Because I got a couple people, right, that I get every day or something. There's a different conspiracy theory in my inbox. Look, there is no connection between 5G and the coronavirus. The same amount of radiation that comes from 5G is similar to the same amount of radiation that comes out of your microwave. So, like, no, there's no connection between 5G and the coronavirus.
Hey, Jordan, somebody said young people need a for those of y'all on Facebook who chimed in late, I am on Instagram Live too. I got State Rep Jordan Harris on the line with me. For those of y'all who don't know, State Rep Jordan Harris is the highest ranking State Rep Pennsylvania history. I'll brag for him. Jordan, somebody said young people need a platform more immediately than the end of this pandemic. What would you say to that one?
So here's the funny thing, like, like, y'all got a lot of stuff in your disposal. Like, you could be creating a economy for yourself with social media, a whole lot of different things that folks could be doing. The other thing is, I would use this opportunity to focus on some of my hobbies. Like, what are those things that you choose to do inside the crib that you can, make money off of it, or create an economy around? Google and YouTube videos around new things that you could learn that you can actually benefit from. One of the things that I did, and it don't cost that much, I joined Robinhood. is an app I downloaded. I've been posting this on my Instagram. Y'all need to look at what I was posting.
You said Robinhood?
Robinhood is an app. Yeah. So it's an app that helps you invest in the stock market. Right?
Okay.
So I've been watching CNBC every morning, right? And it's been talking about how the stock market has dipped because of the coronavirus, and now's the time to invest in the stocks. So I took a couple dollars, not a lot. And like my portfolio is up 45% over the last 2 weeks.
That's crazy. What you
45%. So I've been doing that.
What you investing in, state rep? No, we ain't going.
I'll tell you offline.
We ain't going. Nah, I feel you though. It's you can find another hobby, but look, Jordan. Just people might not know you are overbooked.
Yo, somebody trying to come at me though. They said I need to see my barber though. They
said you need to see your barber.
That's my cousin. He trying to come at me.
We all need to see our barber.
You ain't make it to your barber yet. Yo,
that's a universal problem right now.
I just saw on Instagram. A barber died, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just gonna have. It's just gonna have to be it for a couple weeks.
Yeah, you can't risk it. Not for grooming purposes. What I was gonna say?
No.
You made me forget. Nah, but just to respond to that other comment, man, young boys, my mom's suffering. Everybody's suffering right now. My 7-year-old son's suffering. I get it. Young boys need. Oh, I know where I was going with it. I was saying you played football, right? You went to Overbrook.
Yeah.
If you was a high school student,
Bartram. I went to Bartram.
My bad.
Correct. Don't do that. I went to Bartram. I'm a brave baby.
Y'all all on the other side of the city to us. You know what I'm saying? We from uptown, so it's all over there. But yeah, I mean, if you was,
I know.
If you was like still in your football prime, in your basketball prime, like what would you be doing right now with your time?
Right.
Like right now, what would you be doing?
For real, like working out. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do on the inside, on the workout tip. I would be looking at tapes. You know what I mean?
Film is crazy to do right now.
Looking at look at some of your favorites. See what they're doing. Like what's their skill set? Like try to see how you can hone that into what you're doing. To make yourself better. But that's what I would be doing. This is an opportune time to do a lot of stuff inside the house.
For sure, especially if you're an athlete. Like this is a great time to improve your body, watch your diet, and to make sure that you're working on your skill. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't need people to do that, especially when you got so many trainers that's willing to do it virtually. My man Rodney said, "How do we decipher?" Go ahead, you got it. My bad.
You said Rodney said what?
Oh, my man Rodney on Facebook said, "How do you decipher statistics of deaths that are normal versus corona? It seems like any death that happens is blamed on corona." So, Jordan, I know you every day or every other day you give an update on state numbers, right?
Yeah, every day, yep.
So if you follow Jordan Harris anywhere on social media, every day he tells you how many people in the state has been tested positive and how many deaths we have across the state. If you follow me on any social media, every day I tell you how many people in Philly have tested positive and how many people unfortunately pass away in Philly because they tested positive. So if you follow us on social media, we always give accurate information on the city and the state level, and we got relationships with folks on the federal side, so we'll collect that data from them and kind of make sure we make it transparent. So people, and that's another problem. A lot of the young boys, they got old heads who they follow on social media who telling them, oh, the coronavirus ain't real, it's a hoax, it's fake. And I know that start with the president, but at the end of the day, credible information matter too. We got as they old heads, we got to make sure we giving out credible information on social media and not perpetuating this narrative that is something that's not real. Somebody said they don't believe the numbers. I could give you the Philly numbers. The Philly numbers is real. The state, the national numbers,
Look, I can give you the state numbers, and this stuff is coming from the Department of Health. And somebody asks, well, how does this? If somebody died, they test them. So like they're testing them so that we know
right
that these folks are passing for corona. Get them every single day to my phone, and they restock. Like for example, 1,680 new cases of corona in Pennsylvania. Of those, that takes our number to 16,239 in Pennsylvania total.
Okay, so 16,000 statewide.
of those 1,467 have been or are currently hospitalized, and 770 in the last 24 hours have died. That takes our death toll to 310 in total in Pennsylvania.
And so in Philly, I know that we had about a little over 500 positive confirmed cases in the last 24 hours or so. We are at a total of about a little less than 5,000 confirmed positive cases, which isn't a high number. But Jordan, the thing is that we've only tested about 20,000 people in the city.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, that folks gotta get it, bro. Like, there's people that got the coronavirus and just chilling at home and was like, I'll get over it, and they're not even getting tested, right? So, like, the numbers that we have is just from folks that have been tested.
Right.
There's a whole lot of folks that's not even going to get tested, right? So you got, think about it this way. In order to get tested, you got to get to your doctor, and then your doctor gets you approved to take the test.
Right.
Well, what if you ain't seen a doctor in 2-3 years?
Right.
What if you don't have a doctor to call?
Right.
So there's a lot of people who aren't even in our matrix because they're not even getting tested. So, you know what I mean? So, like, when we talk about social distancing and all that, I told that to somebody earlier today. Social distancing is the bare minimum.
Yep.
Like, you're still exposing yourself when you're doing social distancing. You know what I mean? That's the bare minimum that you can do to reduce your shot. Yep. So it's like, the best thing to do is like just really like chill out.
That's what I'm trying to convince most of the people that's listening right now. And I even want to let them know, like, look, if y'all chill now, we get the summer popping. You got elected officials, like, guys in their 30s, sisters in their 30s that's elected, that understand what basketball means to the city. Philly is a basketball city, Jordan, by the way. I know y'all love y'all Eagles, but this is a basketball city. And when the summer come, we'll make sure, look, I mean, it's going to be some hits financially, right? Like, that's just part of our job as government to recognize there's going to be some hits. But on the flip side, we're going to make sure that young people are taken care of across the city because we come from the same places they come from, and we want to make sure that they get, to the best of our abilities, the same opportunity that we got. My man Hawk Russell said, it's real. Hey, Hawk, you might know Hawk, Jordan. He said he our age. He played football and basketball. He said, it's real. I tested positive, and I felt like I was dying for 5 days. Fortunately, I feel fine today. I was following Hawk on social media when he said he wasn't feeling well, went in the hospital, the whole nine. It impacted him. So he's an example of somebody who telling us, like, look, and he probably, Hawk got to be like late 30s, early 40s, in that age range. So right in our demographic, and he's like, you know what I'm saying, that like, this is real. Like, it really hit me. Mike Mack,
shout
somebody
out to
else.
my man Jewel Jones. Jewel is a state rep out of Michigan, and he's tuning in. Shout out to Jewel man, my man. He be doing it out in Michigan.
That's what's up. Mike Mack on Facebook. You right. Now I see what you're saying as far as the numbers. Like, so what Mike's saying is the numbers that we given, he's saying that he don't believe is accurate because of what we basically saying. Whereas though it's people who going to be positive for it that never get tested at all. You know what I'm saying? They just going to get over it. They're not going to. Yeah. So no, you're right. My bad, Mike. You definitely right. They're all going to be. So the numbers are actually higher than what we're communicating. We're only telling you the confirmed cases.
Right.
Like nobody, we can only imagine how many unconfirmed cases there are out there. So, hey, man, good luck, State Rep Harris. I appreciate you, bro. I know you busy.
No doubt.
I just wanted you to jump on with me for a second. I think Tony's supposed to jump on with me a little later. I'll be so shocked if he actually can jump on this live, June.
I don't know if on Instagram Live, bro.
That's what he said.
That's my old head.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't even know if he know how to do it, though.
He said he was jumping on, but, I was like, you sure?
I don't
you
know what that means, bro.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know if you know what that means.
I think he just aboard the support.
That's what he jumping on. But, like, I don't know if he going, like, pop up on the request. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. People saying we need scientists that we can trust. If somebody else looks, so I know you got to log on. 2 more things. Number one, somebody said we need scientists we can trust. Our folks have a problem believing folks that ain't a part of our community. That's one comment. I think it's some.
That's true.
That's
for
sure. Some credibility to that.
That's true.
And then the second comment was, if heat is a solution to coronavirus, why isn't there any heated treatment centers established or nutrition centers? What are we doing about those numbers? So Tony Payton said, "What's up?"
Yo, go.
So what do you think, Jordan? I mean, we definitely need more science. I'm sure I love to have scientists that look like us. That's in press release, press conferences, in order forefront.
But hold on though. But wait, the United States Surgeon General is a black dude.
That's true. That is true. You're right.
The United States Surgeon General is a
black guy. That's true.
And my man said the other day, he's like, this week is going to be the Pearl Harbor of the coronavirus. He said it's going to be like 9/11 for it.
He said the next 2 weeks.
He black.
Yep, Black Boy did say that.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Rodney. We need more because it's like, we don't see it on the local level, on the state level, but we do. That is an example that Jordan gave. That's 100% accurate. What about the heat question? I mean, the heat, people it's flu season. The coronavirus is a flu, so I don't think people from a scientific perspective are saying that the heat cures coronavirus. What they're saying is when it gets hotter, we move away from flu season. Viruses like that being in the air, the likelihood of you contracting them decreases significantly because of how hot it is and how difficult it is for that stuff to essentially travel. Well, I mean, that was another thing. What you think, bro?
Yeah, I don't know about the heat thing. I mean, I done seen a lot of people, standing over their stove with onions and lemons and all that stuff in the water.
I ain't taking it that
I mean,
far.
I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't know it to be true, right? I can't vouch for it. You know what I mean? I do not know.
My man Toe said coronavirus exists in Africa. Please leave the heat theory alone.
Yeah, I don't know if heat can kill it or prevent it.
Yeah,
I don't know. What I know is that I'm listening to the Secretary of Health for the state of Pennsylvania, Dr. Rachel Levine, who said that, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we gotta follow the experts, but it's like, people just gotta understand. Like, people not saying heat cures it. Like, that's not it. They're saying that as the season changes, the likelihood of getting any type of virus like that, it just changes within seasons. That's all. So people, please don't think we saying heat cures the coronavirus. We're not saying that at all.
No, I'm not asking you to burn lemons and orange peels. I'm not saying that. No. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no.
Don said the steam to help your respiratory system. I mean, steam might help your I don't know. I don't know about that. What I can tell you is that 70 people died in the last 24 hours. Yeah. And the day before that, 78 people died.
It's real.
And, my fear is that tomorrow we have another 70 people. We already up to 16,000. By Sunday, if we keep the same trajectory, it will be over 20,000 people.
Which is crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, that's serious. Like, those are the real numbers.
Just Greg said Dr. Fauci did a keynote in 2017 predicting pandemics coming and saying that we can expect more in the future, according to Dr. Fauci. I don't know. I missed that keynote, but Just Greg is my man.
Yeah, it's Greg. That's the homie.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that Greg is the homie.
Yeah. So, I mean, look.
But, did you see the doc? He said, did you see the doc? I think it was just, and people was getting mad at the boy. Like, he said that, that the coronavirus has, basically exposed the deficiency in our health system with regards to African Americans.
For sure.
And some people was getting upset, and I'm like, nah, I'm glad I said it because it's real.
For sure.
This virus has shown us that there's a deficiency and there's an inequity in healthcare in America, particularly around Black and brown.
For sure.
In this country, and that we have a lot of these underlying issues, right? And the underlying issues, a lot of them come. Some of them are economic, because of supermarkets not being our communities. Some of them are based off the education system. It's a lot of stuff that's compiled. But because that has left many of us susceptible to this coronavirus. And I do believe that, this is not a conspiracy theory, but just the nature of evolution. There's going to be something else that comes down the pike, and we got to be
prepared.
We got to be ready and prepared.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, we're gonna learn a lot from this, so that if anything like this ever hit the fan, we'll be definitely more prepared than what we are right now. I mean, I think it's a blessing that there's a lot of good folks that's in office right now to put us in a position to make sure that we are fighting for a lot of poor people and people of color in the city. You know what I mean? Because some of the things that we fought for, some of the things that we've gotten done, which is like Band-Aid on a bullet wound stuff, I don't think this stuff would happen if you ain't have a lot of folks that were holding elected seats that, care about the demographics that we care about.
Yep. So somebody asked a question, the numbers are across the board. The deaths, yes, the 70 deaths that I talked about today and the 78 yesterday is the total for the state total is 310 deaths since Corona started. Somebody else asked us a question.
Oh, my man Ben said school.
Businesses.
What do you think about school? You think school going to open back up this year? Jordan?
No.
You don't think so?
Listen, here's the thing. This is not my
this all theory
answer.
Yeah,
this just me and you talking. I don't see it because we already in the month of April. If the peak isn't coming for another week, maybe two, that takes us to the middle, almost into April.
Right.
And then even after that, if we hit the curve and it comes down, that takes us into May, and then that means what, you gonna go back to school for the end of May, beginning of June? Like, I don't know. I don't see it.
I was thinking that we would go back. My timeline looked like your timeline. Like I agree with the timeline that you just created. I was thinking we would go back for like 6 to 8 weeks, either at the end of May or the beginning of June, just so we could have a culmination to the school year. Because what we gonna do? Just socially promote everybody? I mean, I know that's not our decision right now, and just for people in the listening audience, like it's just me and Jordan talking right now. You know what I mean? Trying to bring it to people where we are from our living room, so we're not making no official decisions here. But at the same time, somebody asked the question, and we just want to give an honest answer. So I agree with your timeline though, for sure. I don't know how we have a culmination to the school year without convening at some point before the summer, but I don't know.
So what, and you're a former teacher too. So like, as a teacher, like, I would love for us to have something for the young people at the end of the school year. Because I mean, like, if you're a senior, like, this really sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your prom, possibly your graduation. So like, I will hope that we could do something for those young people who are graduating and moving on.
Yeah. Somebody said we've been socially promoting forever. So since No Child Left Behind. So what's the difference? I just think we need some type of. But no, I agree, Jordan. Another thing. So like that's another thing for the young people. It's been a lot of ideas presented out there, like a citywide prom. A lot of ideas about like citywide graduation, just like citywide things that we can do. I'm still the president of the Coaches Association for the Public League, so we still gonna do the All-Star game for the seniors in the Public League specifically.
That's dope.
Yeah, we still gonna do it. Try to invite some coaches, no matter how late in the summer we get to it. We still gonna do it. Shout out to Kathy. Kathy, come on, plug in. I'll pull you in. I don't know how to do it, but you can plug in. Yeah, Kathy just logged on. So but Jordan, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? Like citywide stuff, like citywide proms and all that stuff, citywide graduation, just to make sure like young people who kind of got their experience cut short this year.
I think we should do something. Citywide, I don't know, that might be a little issue. I don't know, letting everybody in the building, but
See,
I don't know.
Y'all always want y'all South Philly proms, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm from South Philly, you know what I mean? So, but I think we definitely got to do something for these young folks. But here's the thing: this ain't even just a Philly thing. Like, this is a nationwide thing. You know what I mean? Schools are shut down all over the place.
Yeah.
So like, this conversation is not just happening in Philadelphia, but it's happening all over the country.
Right.
And what can we do for all of those young people?
Right. No, I agree.
Somebody said do the proms and graduations during Christmas break. If I'm in college, I'm going to come back and go on my prom for Christmas.
Right. I don't think most of our young people, they ain't going to get it. We got to take care of them this summer. It's going to be hot. They're going to be sweating in them suits and all, but we got to take care of them this summer. We don't want them to feel like they've been shorted, like the world is against them. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said something about businesses being closed. So let me say this. I do want to address this whole business piece. And look, I understand that business is going through it right now, and
For sure.
shout out to all our small business owners who are the economic engine of our community and of our Commonwealth. But the truth is, we can revive our economy. We cannot revive people.
Nope.
And we got to understand that right now, the most important thing that we have to do is save lives.
Yep.
And keeping business closed and keeping people at home is the best way to flatten the curve. And the more we do now, the sooner this can be over. So I think that everybody is making a sacrifice for the collective good, right? And look, anybody as a business owner has a commitment from me to put up whatever vote is necessary to provide relief to businesses and to their employees, and things of that nature. But right now, our first and foremost concern has to be about how we save lives.
Yep.
How are we saving? We gotta save lives. Like, when we first started, it was like 4 or 5 people died, and it was like 10, and then all of a sudden it jumped to 78. Like, yesterday was the deadliest day for the coronavirus in Pennsylvania. And I'm just nervous that number's going to keep going up.
Right.
We got to shut this thing down, so people aren't contracting this disease anymore, and that people aren't dying from it. Like, that's serious.
Somebody said, how does this impact our recreational activities? If folks are sick now, they may also remain sick later. I mean, so what I'll say to that is, if you're sick now, right, and you're showing symptoms, right, we're being told that the reason we're all being asked, once you've been diagnosed as positive, what people ask is that you quarantine yourself for 14 days. We've been told that once you've been in isolation and the symptoms begin to go away and folks are cured, then they can convene with the rest of the public. So, how will this impact recreational activity? I mean, it's impacting everything. The world, like, how people talk about, like, pre 9/11 and post 9/11 and how everything changed with, like, security and freedom of speech post 9/11. Like, this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be talking about pre-corona and post-corona. And post-corona, everything is going to be different. The world will be a different place. So, things have changed for sure. Recreational activities have changed for sure. In what capacity? We have no clue yet. But, I mean, look, everything has changed. The world is different. Somebody also said that some of them businesses won't open back up again. I mean, that's true. We had a call with the restaurant industry. They talked about how a lot of restaurants might not be coming back. And we know Philly is a food-rich city. We a basketball, sports-rich city, but we a food-rich city too. Some of them, some businesses, they might not make it through this.
So we did a call. I think it was 2 days ago, with Ashley Bell, who is a regional administrator for the Small Business Administration at the federal level, about all of the grants and programs that they have at the federal level to help small business. And we found out on that call that some of those dollars are also open for churches. So churches can get a part of those resources. Look, this is going to be a heavy lift for all of us to restart our economy. It's just that simple. It's going to be a heavy lift. But with that being said, like, it's something that has to be done.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you guys say, look, I mean, we could talk about businesses opening back up, or we can talk about business closing because people won't be there to patronize those businesses. Those people will be dead.
Right.
Like, that's the reality of what we're talking about.
Yep. So somebody said that 4 to 6, one of my folks said 4 to 6 days after people aren't showing symptoms, they are no longer contagious. So that answers that other question that somebody had. Another question was, do you think the governor will shut down and arrest people in the streets?
So we're trying our best to not have to arrest people, just in general. Like, I'm not really in favor of the whole arresting people thing. I know in the city, I think the mayor authorized, I think it was like $100 fine or something like that. I generally am not in favor of, arresting people. But I will say this, folks gotta stay home.
Yep.
And if you're having big gatherings, if you're the organizer of those big gatherings, then yes, there may be fines or charges levied against you.
So 2 more questions.
So no more Corona parties.
Yeah, the Corona Airbnb parties is drawn. And the Corona Airbnb parties was worse than basketball. So yeah, we talk about the basketball game last night, and like I said, it's more or less to plead with the young boys to let them know if we can just chill for a little while. You got people like me and Jordan and others who are committed to make sure that y'all got a platform and access to things y'all need once this is all over. But somebody else said, and as always, the black communities will be affected the worst. How do we counter the black communities being impacted the worst?
So one of the things that I want folks to do is pay attention to the information that's out there. If you do have a small business, utilize this as an opportunity to grow your business, because the SBA dollars that are out there, I think the rate is like 3.75%. And anybody that does business knows that 3.75 is that's like tremendously low for capital. So if you have a business now, you have an opportunity to get that capital. I suggest that you go out and get the capital and help build with regards to your business. The other thing that I think is now that this has highlighted a lot of things for our community, I think we need to use this as leverage to now start holding other people accountable for what they're going to do. For our community. Look, there's a presidential race coming up.
Yep.
I have endorsed Joe Biden. I am with Joe Biden. I want Joe Biden to win. But with that being said, was born and will always be a black man.
No doubt.
And because of that, my concern for my community is something that I don't take for granted. So I don't care who the candidate is that I support. They gonna hear my mouth around what I think is important for our community. So I think it's important that, you got me and Isaiah fighting for you, but all of the other people who ask for your vote, all of the other people who want to support them, I want y'all to hold them accountable for addressing the concerns of black and brown people. Here's the thing, not just saying it. Saying it is easy. Sending out a tweet about it is easy. Yep. What are you actually doing about it?
Yep. No, I agree with you 100%. We need tangible results and resources. Somebody asked about grants for nonprofits. The city, I don't know about the state. I know the city is offering grants for nonprofits depending on what type of organization you have. There are child care grants out there. There are other nonprofit grants out there. So the city does. Do y'all offer any nonprofit grants on the state side?
So we're dried up. All of the stuff we're directing people to the SBA because the SBA, the stuff is for small business owners, but it also is for nonprofits. They're doing loans for nonprofits at 2.75%, which is crazy. And the way that several of those things work is like, as long as you use like 70%, 75% for your payroll, you can use the other 25 for other stuff. And then after a while, if you do it the right way, it becomes a grant and not a loan. Right. Like, I don't have all of the details in front of me, but you gotta check out this administration and the programs that they are administering, because it is definitely something that nonprofits can take benefit in also.
Right. So yeah, there are resources available for businesses and stuff.
Follow me on Instagram. I need y'all to follow me because I need to get my Instagram followers up.
Bro, you got the most popping in Instagram. Your Instagram page popped more than any other elected official in the city. No rap. Your Instagram page.
So I still need people to follow Jordan A. Harris on Instagram.
That's my man. Follow Jordan. His page dope. I follow Jordan. Jordan page dope. For sure. I follow Jordan. I'll be logging on to his lives. Jordan Harris is. But now
trying, bro.
You're doing at the top of the food chain, man. You got the best page. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm just trying to get information out, bro.
Yeah, you do a great job, man. That's keeping it 100. You do a great job. Now
you holding it down on you holding it down on the city level. I mean, I've told you this before, but like, I'm extremely proud of Isaiah. I mean, I gave Isaiah a check before I was an elected official when I ain't had no real money. I think it was like a $50 check or something.
Bro, that was $100. That was $100. And that meant a lot because
all I had, homie.
You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, people don't understand how that feel when somebody giving you money out their pocket. Like, this ain't your pad. This ain't your homie.
No, this was out of my personal pocket. You know what I mean?
This my meal
now I'm
money.
a little bit bigger, so I do
Yeah.
checks and this and that.
Right,
But no,
right.
that was also only, I believe in you. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm real excited about you being on council. Somebody asked about probation, so I can answer that. Let me tell you this. I'm about to break something real quick on your Instagram live.
We on yours too. All right, let's go.
I want y'all to pay attention.
It's going to turn into a
y'all to pay
YouTube
attention
video
to Governor
too.
Wolf. I want y'all to pay attention to Governor Wolf in the next 24 hours with regards to the prison population. I want y'all to pay attention to Governor Wolf in the next 24 hours about prisons. So I will say that.
There you go. Yeah, because we're going. You go.
Just pay attention. So look, probation though. So look, we trying to get probation done. The thing was, like, I really hoped that we could have got it done when we had session in March, but one session week was canceled in March, and then because of Corona, like, everything was just focused on the coronavirus. So we are still working to get a deal done and we're still trying to get something done on probation reform. The problem is that all Corona has taken, and rightfully so, has taken front seat for all of the stuff. So I'm committed to getting it done, and we do have commitments from the Republicans that that's something that they want to do. So,
yeah, y'all done a good job working across the aisle on
working.
all that criminal justice reform stuff, man. It's epic. It's epic. It's something we've never seen in our lifetime.
We need it though, bro. Like, I run into people and they tell me, like, I got 15 years probation, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. All of the data says that if a person makes it 3 years without reoffending, chances of them is very, very slim to none. So,
what could you have done to get 15 years probation? Like, what type of crime gives you 15 years probation?
Anything. Anything, but like judges have a lot of discretion. Some people do time in jail, get out of jail, and still got probation.
Right. I figure if you got 15 years probation, you had to at least do some time first. Like that's crazy.
But so I don't like to use him as an example all the time because people think that we only doing it because of the celebrity. But like with the Meek case, like all of the bigger thing that we've been trying to look at is like the technical violation piece, because what happens a lot of times is you might only get 5 years probation, but every time you get a tech, right?
Yeah, violation.
That judge can give you another 5 years.
Right.
So every time you have any type of suspension, they can just give you more time.
Right. So you ain't get sentenced to 15 years. You just ended up being on probation for 15 years. I see what you mean.
For nothing.
Right.
For nothing.
Right.
For nothing. Let me not say minor things that if you and I did it it wouldn't be a crime.
I got you. No doubt.
Somebody said I walked off 10, I got a few months left. Wow. Can I have a conversation with you on my situation? Yes. Anytime you can send me a message on Instagram. If you hit the contact button on Instagram, that goes to my email address, and I actually read my email, so you can definitely hit me up.
That's crazy that you guys say that I actually read my emails. I get it though. You know what I'm saying?
No, I emailed somebody back, and it was like, "Is this really you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you just emailed me, man. What's up?" Like, you just emailed me.
Yeah, people probably not used to elected officials getting back to them. I don't know. I don't get it. I try my best to get back to everybody. It's harder now doing this Corona.
I be sitting in my bed at night, so not doing nothing. So I just go through my emails and look. Sometimes, let me say this: my J at pahouse.net. I am the only one that has access to that email. I'm the only one email. If you go to my website and fill out the box that says it goes to Rep Harris at pahouse.net. Now my staff does help me with that because I get even more emails than that, John. But if you hit the tag button here, it's going to take you to J Harris at pahouse.net.
Right.
J Harris at pahouse.net comes to this phone right here.
That's love.
It's an iPhone, and I answer all the emails.
That's love.
It's me.
That's love. So somebody talking about something on Facebook that I can't really catch. I just know they said 70%. It says, but those who are dying, 70% are black. Oh, my video ended. My Instagram video ended. It's about time to wrap up anyway. Ain't about nothing. Y'all get the point. I just came out today really to address the stuff that took care of that was discussed last night. Y'all heard my man Jordan Harris. He was on the Instagram live. We're committed. Young guys, look, we just ask y'all to fall back, stay at home, chill. We're committed to make sure you guys got platforms, resources taken care of this summer. But for everybody's sake, Jordan had a tweet out that talked about, look, this ain't about you. This is about your aunt, your grandma, your mom. So for the sake of the elders in our community, we need folks to stay home. Again, all the rims are going to be taken down in the city. And we'll make sure that on the other side of this, we got a lot of outlets. But please, stay home, folks. Stay off the courts. Try to answer as many questions as I could. I'll be back live again, hopefully next Monday, unless something else come up. All right, peace.